Okay, here's a quick video on safety. This is talking about usually in the hospital setting, but it does have some for outpatients. So here's your objectives and key terms. So fire safety, first thing we're going to talk about. You need to be aware of the different potentials for fire. So fire requires oxygen, fuel, and heat. So most hospital fires are caused by spontaneous combustion, open flames, cigarette smokers, and electricity. So a lot of the times a patient would light up a cigarette and have the whole place shut down, all the fire doors close and everything because they're smoking a cigarette. So everyone responds with a fire extinguisher, which makes it kind of fun to see the look on the person's face when we all come running down the hallways with fire extinguishers to their room. So that pretty much has been alleviated. I don't hear those calls anymore. 5-10 years ago, we heard them a lot. Electrical fires are really big too. So oxygen and fire hazards. So oxygen supports combustion. So you use extreme care when in use and know locations of the shutoff valves. So it's always something for me to see a person sitting there smoking a cigarette with an oxygen tank and the nasal cannula in. I'm looking at them like, do you understand that you are a bomb? So oxygen is very, very flammable, and there you will at some point see someone come in with facial burns because they were smoking a cigarette and their oxygen and the cigarette ignited. So it's not a pretty sight, especially if they have facial hair. So be prepared. Know the fire plan of your facility. Know evacuation routes and alternative routes. Locate the fire alarms, the extinguishers, and the fire doors. Now you need to know where this stuff is as part of your orientation to the site. So you've got to be able to point them out. When Mark, Teresa, or I come out to visit you, we are going to ask you, where is the fire extinguisher? Where is the alarm? How do you notify? What happens when you do that? So in case of fire, you're going to remember the acronym RACE and PASS. So RACE is rescue, alarm, contain, and extinguish. So the first thing you're going to do is rescue your patients. So you're going to do whatever you can to get the people out of harm's way. You're going to alarm, so hit the alarm on the wall or call whatever the number is. Contain it as best you can. So a lot of the doors in hospitals are fire doors. So shut the fire doors so that it's contained to one area. And then if you can, extinguish what you can. To work the fire extinguisher, you're going to pull the pin, you're going to aim it, you're going to squeeze the lever, and you're going to use a sweeping motion. So race to evacuate and pass to use the extinguisher. So pull pin, break the seal, aim the nozzle, squeeze the handle, and use a sweep at the base of the fire. Common hazards. So electrical safety rules. All electrical equipment and appliances must be approved for hospital use. So you have to send them to biomedical or engineering for them to approve the toaster you brought in. You're not allowed just to bring in any appliance. It has to be approved. Follow the equipment manufacturer's instructions. Equipment used on or near patients or near water must have ground plugs, and inspect the equipment regularly, paying attention to cords and plugs and arrange for repairs as needed. So a lot of our equipment, especially portables, we have to plug them in at a weird angle and the ends get frayed. So if it starts to show any wear or tear, you're going to want to get that fixed before you use it again. You don't want to get shocked. It's not fun. All right, so don't overload circuits by connecting too many devices to a single outlet or outlet groups. Unplug or turn off electrical equipment before exposing internal parts. Don't take it apart while it's still plugged in. Do not attempt to repair the equipment unless you're trained to do so. So if you're trained to do so, you should know that you have to unplug it. Use only extension cords approved for extended purpose, and in case of electrical fire, use a Class C or carbon dioxide fire extinguisher. So falls and collisions. Precautions taken. Increased safety for patients and personnel. Do not park equipment near corners. Now, also, there's fire corridors. Make sure that you don't park a bed or gurney or a portable in that fire corridor on the wall that is the wall that has to be clear at all times. The biggest thing that the fire department complains of is that there's equipment in the hallways that they have to get through. So, and don't park near corners, because you come around a corner and you're going to be you're going to hit a patient's gurney. Sorry, it's my dog. You're going to hit a gurney into a portable or something. So make sure that you're away from the corners. Do not store heavy items on upper shelves. So that's kind of a no-brainer, but I've seen it. In the supply rooms, you'll go in and all the barium's on the top shelf, and you have all the tissues on the bottom shelf. So that will fall over if it's not attached, or the shelf could break and come crashing down on you. So stack stored items neatly and carefully, and do not string electrical cords across doorways or other traffic patterns. People trip and it'll get frayed and you can get shocked. So chemicals and spills. So limit access to the area of a spill and evacuate the area. Healthcare facilities have written policies and procedures to follow in determining appropriate action in the event of a chemical spill. And OSHA requires that all chemicals be properly labeled so that the material safety data sheet, it's actually just called the STS now, safety data sheet, for all hazardous materials be on file and easily accessible to personnel. So we have binders just within the classroom, let alone at the facilities. So everyone has to have their SDSs and be acceptable for any event of a spill or exposure. So eye splashes, you need to get prompt attention to it. So usually there's an Eyewash Station. If there's potential exposure to the eyes, it's required by OSHA that there's an Eyewash Station. So it's a first aid station where chemical eye splashes that spray water into the eye for a convenient height. So typically it's the height of like a water fountain, and it has 2 different water nozzles. And what it is, you turn it on like a water fountain and it rinses the eyes. So workplace safety, ergonomics. All right. The study of the human body in relation to the working environment. So ergonomic awareness and education in the workplace have reduced job injury in recent years. So we're going to require that the workstation is a certain height, that you raise the table so that you're working at a height where you're not bending over. So really important that you follow the different ergonomics. If you find that you're having a lot of back pain or shoulder pain or whatever while you're working, there's actually people that work for the facilities that will come in and look at the ergonomics of your workstation and be able to fix that so it's better for you long term. Body mechanics. So the principle of proper body alignment, movement, and balance. When you are lifting, it's really important that you remember your line of gravity. So the line of gravity is you want to keep your body as straight as possible, and that's where you're able to carry the strongest weight. So you have your base of support as your feet, and you have your line of gravity, as you can see. Now you're going to carry your load as close to your center of gravity as possible. You don't want to carry it awkward, so up above. So as you can see here, this is pulling your center of gravity forward. You want to keep nice and straight. If you're picking up a box, you want to pick it up with your legs, not your back. All right, rules for body mechanics. Provide a base support. Work at a comfortable height. When lifting, bend your knees. Do not lift, excuse me, with your back. You want to keep your back straight at all times. Keep your load well balanced and close to your body. So you don't want to carry it just on one side of your body. So if your right arm's stronger, you don't want to just carry it with your right arm. Carry it with both arms and keep it as close to your chest as possible. Roll or push heavy objects. Avoid pulling and lifting. So you want to roll things and you want to push. You don't want to pull and lift. All right, so that is your quick video on safety.